First of all, we have to understand what egregore means. When Babuji Maharaj says when certain egregore is reached, that will be the turning point where mutation will begin. Mutation of human race at a DNA level that will change altogether our genetic disposition. The story is like this. Sometime in 1981, I was with Babuji Maharaj. Just sitting in one corner and he was trying to walk, I thought, towards the door to enter his bedroom. But suddenly he turned towards me where I was seated and he expressed very profound things. And he said, I am changing the genetic pattern of human race. I was very young then. I was hardly 23, 24. And I didn't understand the impact of what he was saying. I did not even understand what Babuji meant by genetic mutation. I thought, oh wow, maybe he's talking from his hat. And being a pharmacy student, I was analyzing. But at the same time, I knew in the heart of my heart that yes, it is possible. When Babuji decides to do it, it is possible. But Babuji cannot do anything unless and until we all come together. And what is meant by coming together? Coming together the way we are is not going to change anything. Coming together of like-minded people with evolved consciousness is meaningful. And our consciousness can change only when we practice diligently, the way it is prescribed. Unless and until each one of us carry that signature consciousness, egregore cannot be reached. And unless a certain population within the community come together and reach this climax of consciousness, till then it's not going to happen. See? And when we are studying some scientific researches these days, that it is the environment that changes the genetic disposition. It's a proven scientific fact. Depending upon the environment in a family, the child's growth is also determined accordingly. Genetic disposition is already determined by the environment. See, it starts from the very early days when for the first time two chromosomes meet and they come and form an egg and then embryo and then it multiplies. But each moment it is influenced by the surrounding. If mother is surrounded by a violent atmosphere versus mother is surrounded by peaceful, holier atmosphere, then the disposition of the growing embryo will be different. You see, how the child would later on think and express itself will be totally different. And it is all determined by that environment. The way we conduct ourselves in a family, that brings in and cultivates the future of our family. And it continues like that, see. Have you seen one thing that when you visit Smashan Bhumi, for example, where all are in a very sad mood, morose mood, all absorbed in godly remembrance perhaps, remembrance of the one who is lost, who is passed on. And this atmosphere impacts us equally. And no one can escape this sadness. Likewise, when you go to a party clubhouse and see what happens there, the atmosphere there is different and it impacts you differently. Similar thing happens in a hospital. For example, when your loved one is in a hospital and you go, what happens to you then? So it all depends on the environment. Environment decides our moods. our emotions, our thoughts, our actions. And based on that, our genes also changes. Automatically, it adjusts itself based on our moods. So when many of us come together, like-minded spiritual people, and when that intensity, whether there are two very serious abhyasis or 200 abhyasis but not very serious, so you have to wonder whether what matters, is it the number or is it the quality of consciousness of each individual? So Babuji said it's all about consciousness which is so refined, but not just by one person, but multitude of it. And when that happens and society is impacted, so at the moment our role is, we are the product. We are the salespeople. We are the scientists. We are the experiment. We are the final product of that experiment. We have no other physical product to display and say, look what Sahajmark can produce. We are the product. And how we display ourselves with our behavior, the way we talk, the way we conduct ourselves in society, in the office, at home, that is the crux of the matter. See, lead a life in such a way that it create piety, feeling of holiness, feeling of reverence in others. So you have to be reverential. You have to feel holier inside yourself that yes, I am the embodiment of presence of God or the divinity in myself. And when these vibrations touches the others' hearts, slowly that person also would like to become like the master. That's why Babuji says, I don't make disciples, I'll make masters. So when there will be many masters with evolved consciousness, humanity will change. What percentage of society? Sister, I'm sorry, I cannot say, because I'm not able to say and judge and say, enough of us should be able to influence our community. Let us start with our families, friend circle, and increase the circumference of our circle. You will have your circle, another person will have another person, and all these circles will merge one day and become one. So that is egregore. Thank you. It's a very nice question. Thank you. Well, why do you depend on my answers? Attend half a dozen Sunday satsang and skip half a dozen Sunday satsangs and see the impact on yourself. You decide whether to attend it or not to attend. Why do you depend on my words? I have always said group satsang is always better. Personal sittings are always better face to face. We have made all these possibilities, for example, Zoom or online sittings or app we have created so that, those who do not have the opportunity of taking sittings directly from preceptor face to face, at least they should not have excuse or a reason for not taking a sitting in person. In Gujarati we say, na mama karta kana mama saro. Means it's better to have a blind uncle than having no uncle. You understand? Mama means mother's brother. People look forward to meeting Mama. I always was wondering when is my Mama coming home. Because he brings gifts and so many things, you see. And even if he's blind or lame, I don't mind as long as I get my gifts. So with that spirit in mind, we created this app so that you can enjoy remote sittings when it becomes difficult for you to attend in person. But it cannot become the rule. That was an exception. Should exception become the rule? You decide. You take half a dozen sittings online or via app. Fine, write your experience. Later on, make an effort and go and have a regular sitting from a preceptor on a designated time and on a designated date in a very precise way every Monday at 8 p.m. or every Tuesday at 7 p.m. based on mutual convenience of yourself and a preceptor, and see for yourself the difference it can make. So, choice is yours. You experiment and let me know the results. I already know the result, but you have to feel it. If you remove superiority complex, then you become a superior and humble being. You become less egoistic and better ego handling person than the other person. Why do you want to sublimate your ego? First of all, you have to understand that. And no amount of effort can make it. At moment you begin meditation, and as we experience more and more various states of consciousness, what happens is you think less of yourself and you think more of God, more of the Master. And when this precedence of remembering the Master takes over completely in you, without making any effort, that is the moment to be celebrated. See? Not that I have become egoless, you don't celebrate that, but be grateful to God for helping us arrive at such a state. See? To remove ego consciously with a lot of efforts, it's counterproductive. But once and for all, submit yourself and pray to Master. Now, don't we say in our prayer, "O Master, Thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of wishes, putting bar to our advancement." And we also say that Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. So why don't you pray, God, please help me get rid of this ego. It's too much for me. The weight of ego is a bit too much. It is digging my own grave. And once you realize that this ego is so overpowering and hurting me, it is ruinous to my spiritual growth, then automatically you will tend to transform yourself, refine yourself. Automatically that will happen. Once you realize this is poison, you will not go nearby it. If I get the opportunity to work as a volunteer, I would work 30 hours a day. Because 24 hours are not enough. Then again, why would you depend on someone's answers? Try it yourself. Even 2 hours you spend and work as a volunteer and see what happens to your inner self. Your awareness will change for sure. And you try to participate in Bandara, picking up plastic perhaps, picking up some abhyasi from the train, bringing them to ashram, or helping elderly person with their bags, taking them around. Because Kanha ashram is so big, a lot of elders require help. You see, sharing your inspirational stories with fellow brother Abhyasis or sister Abhyasi is good. In your local center also, plant some trees in your ashram. If no space is available, then do something else. Nurture the existing trees. Clean your ashram. My inner spirituality, my inner purity must reflect outside in my action. Otherwise, what is the point? Does it make any sense? You become so pure and outside is so dirty. So everything has to be spick and span outside and inside. So volunteer can do, a lot of cleaning of outside, organize the place, make someone else's life comfortable. Elderly in your community, for example, they don't have anyone to go take them for sittings. You volunteer and take them for sittings from a preceptor. If elderly people, they also have trouble going for shopping. They don't even know how to use apps to order groceries, for example. You can help them. Someone wants milk, help them get milk on a precise day. Elderly people, did you take your medicine properly? Let me see how you are taking it. Do you want me to go get medicine when you're out of it? So sky is a limit. What all we can do with volunteer services to our fellow being. And the people whom we are serving, they need not be abhyasis. Anyone we can serve, your neighbor. They may not be abhyasis, but is it required that they become abhyasis? No. Good night.